And welcome to No Apologies with Becker on Beck. Without Becker this time, I am Lori Hinz, your host tonight, and with me, Daryl Leese. Once again, thank you so much for
Glad to be here.
Accompanying me. So tonight we are going to be talking about several things. First of all, we're going to be talking about unaccompanied minors and also illegal immigration. And we're also going to be touching on a little bit about your health freedom, like a lot about your health freedom tonight, Daryl. And then we will go and do a little dip into our mailbag to wrap things up. So I'm looking forward to a really informative evening. We're going to start with our first topic, which is about Tennessee lawmakers who are alarmed by reports that the White House might be secretly flying migrant children into their state of Tennessee. Now, we have heard a little bit of citizen journalism in North Dakota about the same sort of thing, but they are actually documenting this right off the bat. So this is very interesting stuff. The first story I want to show you is from Fox News, and if we could put up the first graphic. This is talking about the Tennessee lawmakers alarmed by reports that they're secretly flying these migrant children in. Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee said in a statement to Fox News that the transportation of migrants is taking place, quote, in the dead of night without the knowledge or permission of the communities involved, end quote. And if that is happening, that could be a real problem.
So my question is if we have lawmakers that supposedly know this, why isn't it being more directly addressed by everyone in D.C., especially the Republicans?
Exactly. That's a great question. And we're hearing more and more reports in various other states as well of this same sort of thing occurring. This was an actual news story that actually was talking about what actually was happening in Tennessee. So it makes your radar go up right off the bat. Now, what happened then is these Tennessee lawmakers decided that they were going to sound the alarm. And what happens in many cases is all of a sudden people start realizing, okay, we need to do something about this. Let's, sound the alarm. So let's show another graphic here too. Now, this graphic it's another one of those letters. We were talking about letters last night that were going out, and this letter is from another. Now you can see, if you look in that graphic very carefully, you can see there are 20 logos again from various states, and North Dakota is in the center row on the far right-hand side. And I wanted to see if they, if we had signatures. So let's look at the next slide, and the next slide shows the signatures on the last page. There's a second page that I'm not showing, and if you look very carefully on the top in the center, yes, Doug Burgum has written this letter. So he is in on this letter this time. This is a good thing. So unaccompanied minors overnight dropped all across America. There are various governors who have written letters in, and they have said, this is not what we want.
It's concerning.
It is concerning.
I mean, not just from the standpoint of we've got immigrants that are coming across illegally at the border, but they're distributing them across the country to try and hide them. I mean, that's what's going on. Let's be honest about it.
It is.
They're not distributing them across the country to be open about it.
Exactly.
They're trying to hide them, have more dilution in the numbers, because if they put 20 here and 50 here and 100 here, it's not as noticeable as 1,000 in one area.
Exactly. Well, I've got another article to show you too. This one is also another one that talks about the Biden administration dumping unaccompanied illegal immigrant kids all over America. This is by David Kaminger. And what happens to the kids when they get to their ultimate destinations, he asks. Are they put in foster homes or children's homes? Do they wind up on the streets or victims of human trafficking? And who pays for this travesty? Who pays for this travesty? You do. This is the concern. Look at the economic impact of all of these unaccompanied minors, thousands upon thousands of them.
So across many states we have a huge unemployment problem right now. So we're going to add more people into those situations that unemployment is running high.
Yep.
We've got other states, let's just take North Dakota, our unemployment isn't high, but we also need certain technical abilities in the people that come here.
Right.
We need certain trades.
If they're coming with no language skills.
How are they going to adapt and fit in?
Right.
someone's got to be hosting these folks, and who's the ones that are hosting it?
It's
where they're
curious.
getting sent to. That's the question I think we need to find out.
That is the question. Now, if there were actual journalists out there somewhere who would actually investigate. You remember back in the olden days when we had actual investigative journalism?
Let's see if I can recall that.
I know, back in the olden days. No, the Biden administration does this with impunity, this article says. If Trump had done this, we would have heard how cruel and heartless he was, and CNN would have broadcast 24/7 film of crying kids headed off to be dumped off without their parents or any other adult accompanying them. Remember the cages? That the Obama-built cages?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that Trump was blamed for, and they're still being used.
and they're still being used.
Imagine that.
Although I think they're far over capacity, last I heard too. It says, and the kids themselves in this country by the direction of irresponsible parents and relatives must be terrified. And I don't know if you've seen some of the videos of these little tiny children, but sometimes right in the Rio Grande Valley, you will see a vehicle, and by the side of it, 3 little children, little girls, ages 7 through 11, and they're, you know, all by themselves. It is a horrendous, horrendous issue.
Well, and so just a matter of about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, Lori, when I was getting ready to come here from home, I received an email from American Farm Bureau Federation, our national affiliate, with a letter from 4 border states down there wanting us and other farm bureaus across the nation to sign on to, and it stated some of the dangerous activities that are now going on down there, the
Human trafficking.
human trafficking that's going on,
Right.
the farms and ranches that aren't safe along that
Right.
border down there right now. People
Right.
aren't safe in those communities. And this is all attributed to just open the borders and let them come willy-nilly, so to speak, because that had gotten better from 2017
Right.
to 2020. It had improved. And now we're going back and almost doubling down compared to what it was in 2016.
Oh yeah, it is exponentially higher too. So this Tennessee thing, Marsha Blackburn said Biden has not only put these children at risk, but he's also putting Tennesseans at risk, as she too demanded answers. She's like, what's going on? So Tennessee Governor Bill Lee led roughly 20 of these other Republican governors, including our Governor Burgum, thank you, Governor Burgum, in sending a letter to the Biden administration and calling for action at the southern border, noting that the immigration crisis was spilling over into many U.S. cities. Now, I was sent something as well too. Let's go to the next graphic and see if I can show you a little bit about. Well, we have HB 1012, and HB 1012 is an interesting bill that actually was from the 67th legislature. So this is a case where you have something that is actually in our legislature, and this is from January 5th, 2021, House Bill 1012. And this is an Appropriations Act that is very, very interesting to me. If you scroll down and you go to this one, you can see that there is some very interesting wording in here about refugee resettlement services. This is in Section 20. And it says, Legislative Management Report, Subdivision 2 of Section 1 of this Act includes the sum of $6,069,408 of federal funds for the Refugee Resettlement Program. The Department of Human Services shall collaborate with applicable federal and private placement agencies to develop a plan to resettle refugees in at least 5 geographically diverse communities in the state outside of the existing resettlement communities, with a goal of resettling 25% of new refugees outside of existing resettlement communities during the 2021 to 2022 interim. The Department of Human Services shall provide a report to the legislative management regarding refugee resettlement services. This is in our HB 1012, and I don't remember ever hearing anything about this previously. I don't know about you.
You know, there was very light mention of it, and it was kind of just pushed aside, which I would have thought there would have been more legislators sounding the alarm about this, especially when last year we saw
What happened
how
in
the
Burley
community
County.
stood up.
Yep, I remember.
You know?
Yep.
I mean, that was one of the most publicized city council engagements ever.
I was there. All right, when we come back, we are going to switch gears a little bit, and we are going to join, we're going to have join us, Tara Dukart from Health Freedom, North Dakota. She will be here to talk health freedom when we come back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
Your Bismarck Bucks are hitting the road this week, Saturday, May 29th, for a 7:05 p.m. kickoff in Des Moines, Iowa, as we take on the Iowa Barnstormers for the IFL Game of the Week. Catch the game locally on Beck Sports and on our national television partner, Stadium, as the Bismarck Bucks look to improve to 4-1 on the season. Hey, go Bucks!
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. I am Lori Hins. With me is Daryl Leese, my co-host. And then I'm very happy to welcome Tara Dukart. Did I say your name correctly?
Yes.
Okay, Tara is with Health Freedom ND, or Health Freedom North Dakota. And we're going to talk health freedom this time, and that encompasses a lot of different topics. So first of all, what I would like to ask you is, what lit a fire under you to get involved with this whole movement?
You know, I've been interested in health for about my whole life, but really it became very personal for me when my husband and I had some health challenges and we struggled to start a family. And that was about 12 years ago, and it led us on a journey, a very personal journey of questioning what were we eating, what were we putting into our bodies, what was the root cause of some of our health issues. And ultimately for me, I discovered that the root cause of my health issues came from pharmaceutical damage.
Really? Oh, how interesting. So health freedom is really important to you because it's obviously affected you. And
It
you
is.
have children now?
We do. We have 3 children. We adopted one, and we have 2 sons we have a daughter that we adopted, and she's 9. Our sons are 8 and 3, just turned 3. And yeah, fertility has been a really big struggle for us. We've had numerous miscarriages and lots of struggles. Now, God has used it, and He's led me to amazing people, and that's really how I got connected with the other people from Health Freedom North Dakota. It's an amazingly supportive group, and we've linked arms, and we have worked together, and we're passionate about a lot of the same things.
That's fantastic.
And so it's been a
I
blessing.
have been to a couple of Health Freedom events, and they are so well done, and they're so fun, like the Del Big Tree people coming. You bring in some very, very big names.
Yes. And they've become great friends of ours. And again, another way to link arms. So we're working together with people locally and with people, big names like Del Big Tree and some other doctors and people who are into the legal aspect. So we've got some events that we've done recently. We've got some other big things coming up later.
You do? Well, we'll talk about that coming down the pike here too. First of all, let's talk about the mission and the purpose of Health Freedom North Dakota.
Yes, so our group really aims to educate. So we believe in true informed consent. And the key words obviously being true. And so we want an opportunity to hear the truth, hear both sides, not just the propaganda piece. And we know that we're getting tons of propaganda. And I want to talk about that in just a minute. But we do demonstrations, we do educational things, and like I mentioned earlier, we link arms with other really great reputable sources and opportunities so that we can continue to let people know that you have the right to information and you have the right to choice. Because ultimately we believe that each of us as individuals, and then if we have children as parents on behalf of our children or anyone else who would be in our care, we have the right and the responsibility to make health decisions that are in the best interest of ourselves and of the people that we care for.
Sounds like liberty to me. I'm totally good with making my own decisions about my health.
Yes.
Personally.
I'm glad with taking that responsibility.
Right.
Yes.
I will do that too. Now, there is a huge pharmaceutical lobby. It is this monolithic, gargantuan amount of money that is going against what you're talking about, and that's making choices.
That's correct. And I think the last 12 to 16 months, as COVID has rolled out, I think it's brought a lot of fear for some people. And for others, it's brought a tremendous amount of awareness. And I think we're seeing things come to light that I think not everybody was privy to that kind of information before.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily common knowledge that most of media is funded by pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
And there's something, and I had come across this a while back, and I just recently came across this information again. Propaganda was quietly legalized in 2012 under the Obama administration.
In what way?
And so I looked into this a bit deeper, and this is something that you can look up yourself. So I've got information directly here from a source. The most recent version of the National Defense Authorization Act, that's the NDAA, and so you can look this up. It includes an amendment that legalizes the use of propaganda on the American public. This amendment was approved in 2012, and it nullified the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948,
Wow.
which explicitly forbid psychological operations aimed at influencing U.S. public opinion. So since 2012, propaganda is legal. And then we know, again, I believe, and I'd have to double check this statistic, but I believe that at least 70% of media funding is pharmaceutical funded. And North Dakota, the United States and New Zealand are the only two countries in the world that allow pharmaceutical companies to advertise
I did
to
not
the general
know
public.
that.
Yeah.
That's
The United
just the two
States
of
and
us.
New Zealand.
Wow, that's interesting. I would like to show a graphic of your website. This is Health Freedom North Dakota's website so that you can see what it looks like. And it's just, I'm assuming your website is very easy to remember, healthfreedomnd.
Correct, .org. And we are actually in the process of updating our website. So that is in the works. For right now, if you want to just get connected to us, you can sign up for our newsletter like you can see there. You can also, if you, on the website, if you scroll down, you can enter some additional information, but essentially that just allows you to connect with us, and then we will reach out to you right away, and we'll get you connected in however you want to be a part of our organization.
Now, our next graphic that we are going to show here is an article from the Defender that I found, and it talks about VAERS. And I've been familiar with VAERS before, Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. This is a national reporting system that is the primary government-funded system for reporting adverse vaccine reactions in the U.S. Reports submitted to VAERS require further investigation before causal relationship can be confirmed. So this is the place where all of the reports are going, and it used to be that there were a very small amount of reports, and they have just exploded recently.
I think this is another piece where the general public is becoming more aware. So there was a major Harvard study that was done a while back, and it was $1 million study. And the results of that study showed that only 1% of adverse vaccine reactions get reported to that system. Only 1%.
Wow.
So, I know.
99% of are still out there, and the numbers are so large, you imagine they must be absolutely astronomical.
Right. So now when you see these latest the latest information now coming out of VAERS specifically for the COVID, I don't even know that you can call them vaccinations, and they are emergency authorization only. They are not FDA approved, and I'm hoping that people are aware of that. If not,
I call them experimental biological agents
because I believe that they are.
They're experimental.
I agree, and
We're
so
all
right.
guinea pigs.
It's experimental, yes, and they are not approved. They are authorized for emergency use. And it concerns me as a parent and as a former teacher that we are willing to subject our kids as young as age 12 with products that we have no idea how it's going to affect their fertility.
Right.
We have no idea how it's going to affect their immune response or anyone's immune response. And look at the deaths that we're seeing. We have just surpassed 200,000 deaths, including 943 specifically among the age group of 12 to 17 years old. You can find this information out on the Children's Health Defense. But it goes on to say, and again, you can look these up yourself, 20% of the deaths were related to cardiac disorders. 54% of those were male, 44% female, and it goes on. I mean, and I know some people will say, well, you know, the VAERS reports, we don't know for certain whether or not one of the COVID shots was the direct result. But again, historically, if only 1%
are being reported, that's
to begin with,
Just
then
like we
look
don't
at these
know
numbers.
if COVID actually caused the deaths or not.
Right, and that's a whole other skewed topic, if people died with COVID or of COVID, and it is not the same thing.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about opting out.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Prairie Patriot Firearms and Training is the region's most complete gun and training center. 5-lane indoor range, a gun shop, and a certified training facility. Firearms training courses are offered daily for new, intermediate, and advanced shooters. If you're not comfortable in a classroom setting, Prairie Patriot offers one-on-one private lessons, from basic self-defense training to concealed weapons testing, along with a full line of guns, ammunition, holsters, and concealment clothing. Prairie Patriot, 3930 Memorial Highway, prairiepatriot.com.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York style pizza. We also feature gyros with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome back to No Apologies with Becker with Lori Hins and Dara Leese, and with us Tara Dukart, who is not only a spokesperson but public relations with Health Freedom ND. Happy to have you here today. We were talking just last time about the 1986 Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. Let's show a couple of graphics here too. This first one is Dr. Herbert Lay, former FDA commissioner. He says, people think the FDA is protecting them. It isn't. The FDA protects the big drug companies. And then the next one is really interesting to me because this is a quote that is just so Fauci. It's just so, he has the most uncanny ability to be like opposite in one statement and then, I mean, it's phenomenal. But this one, there will be a surprise outbreak.
Yes.
He said that in 2017.
Yes, and a lot of us see evidence that a lot of this was pre-planned. Now, I don't mean to diminish the fact that people have gotten sick from COVID. I mean, I admit that they have, and for that I am sorry. And I think what we want to do and what we like to do at Health Freedom is separate logic from emotion. And so let's think logically. Let's look at things logically. And the stuff that's coming out from Dr. Fauci and the CDC just isn't making sense. Right. And so back to what we were talking about in the last segment, you know, I don't know that a lot of people realize that the CDC is not an independent agency. It is funded by pharmaceutical companies, again. And so the CDC itself owns over 20 vaccine patents, and it sells $4.6 billion of vaccines yearly.
Wow.
Yes. And so
Talk
I think
about a stacked deck.
Yes. And so when we know,
I think I need to own the CDC.
So let's start questioning the CDC. And you know, I think a lot of us as parents with kids in schools and just as individuals, you know, a lot of information will, you know, when we ask the why questions, why are we following this protocol? Why the mask mandates?
Right.
Why the masks or the shots? You know, why these different things? Well, the CDC says, the CDC says. Or my health department says, well, who is the health department following? The CDC, et cetera. You know, so everyone, it just seems like people are passing the buck and passing the responsibility.
Now, we were talking also about this 1986 Congress Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. We have a graphic about that too. Yes. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to put this up so we do not miss it too. This talks about some very important facts as well, if we could put that up on the screen. To date, the U.S. Court of Claims has awarded almost $4 billion to vaccine victims for catastrophic injuries, yet 2/3 of applicants are still denied compensation. This act requires vaccine providers to report all suspected vaccine-related adverse events to the, well, we talked about it earlier, the VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Reporting System. It is estimated, as Tara said, that only 1% of adverse events are reported. And vaccines are the only product for which a manufacturer is exempt from liability when their product injures or kills. Now, the next graphic shows some information that you may be interested in as well. In childhood vaccines, this is so true. I had children in the 90s yet, and they only had just a small amount compared to what it is now. It was 24 in 1988, 69 different vaccinations in 2020 required. And you've got to wonder, what is the reasoning for that? I mean, Tara, why did that go up so exponentially in such a short period of time?
It's a fascinating story. So if you look into the 1986 Act, and it went into effect in 88. So it was the Act of 86, went into effect in 88 or 89. But essentially what was happening is vaccine manufacturers at the time were facing bankruptcy. And they were facing bankruptcy because you could sue them. So if you were injured from a vaccine, or if you or your child died from a vaccine, then you could sue them just like you can any other pharmaceutical drug. And the drug companies that were manufacturing vaccines were facing bankruptcy. Now, instead of making safer vaccinations, which they could have done, instead of making the vaccination safer, they essentially twisted the arm of Congress
and got a get out of jail free
card. That's exactly what they did. And so they are liability free. And so when we look at this, like, what an ideal business model. I want everyone to just think about this. So you have zero liability. You cannot be sued. The vaccine manufacturers to this day cannot be sued for injury or death that's linked to the vaccines. And so it's zero liability. And then it's a mandated market. And so if you're mandating this to children, and we want to talk about exemptions, yes, you mandate it for kids, and people don't always know that you can opt out. And we mandate it. Before COVID, the vaccine industry is a $50 billion industry per year. Wow. So no liability and a mandated product. And so those of us who have been involved with health freedom, like I was, and there's people, who came long before me that have been trying to warn people, like we're still doing now. We saw the writing on the wall. We knew vaccine passports were on the way. And we knew that the intention was to open up the market to, let's put adults now on a mandatory vaccine schedule, because it just rakes in money for the company. So follow the money and you will see the propaganda. Follow the money and you will see the whys behind what we're dealing with right now as a nation, as a society, and as a world.
Let's take a look at another vaccine doses for U.S. children graphic. This one here shows in 1988 what it was, and that was very common, very, DTP, MMR, also they added OPV. Okay, so then in 2019, look at the massive amounts of their influenza, chickenpox, MMR. They have added so many more. And childhood vaccine schedules sharply increased immediately following that National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act that released all vaccine makers from liability when their products injure or kill. And in the next slide, we can see, have you heard no shots, no school? Yeah, you have. You hear that. That is well, technically propaganda, is it not?
It is.
So that's simply not true. North Dakotans can claim 3 exemptions, this says.
That is correct. And when you think about that list, when were kids healthier? Were children healthier back in the 80s and before, or are they healthier now? And so these are things that we're not even talking about. We're not talking about how sick kids are today. Why do we have these autoimmune issues? Why do so many kids struggle with skin infections and allergies, food allergies, and different kinds of allergies, eczema, rashes, just constant things? Kids are so sick now. And so I know that vaccines aren't necessarily the cause of all of that, but I would say that it definitely contributes. Okay, so
opting out.
So opting out. If you have, no school, no shots, no daycare, that's not true. So North Dakota is one of 15 states in the U.S. that has 3 exemptions. So I'm gonna, if you can see this is what the form looks like. It looks just like this. You can print this off. You can even Google it. So it's the exemption form for North Dakota. Every state has one. And all you have to do to opt out at the very bottom, I'll just point, down right here. All you have to do is check which of the 3 exemptions you would like to select, sign your name, and you send it off to the school.
And the 3 choices are medical, religious, or philosophical and moral.
Correct. So there's actually, Yes, there's actually a fourth one. North Dakota breaks it up probably one of the most. And so a medical exemption would qualify you like if you've had a vaccine or your child has, and they had a medical adverse event after it. They've had like seizures, for example. So you could get a doctor's note. That's one that you have to have a doctor's note to opt out for a medical reason. Now there's some states in the United States that's all they have, and it's very, very hard to get. I have a friend whose child had seizures after her vaccination, and she still can't get the doctor to sign, in this case, his name to the medical exemption form. This is why people have left places like California and New York. And so, so that would be a medical exemption. A religious exemption is, of course, if you have a specific religion, a specific denomination that is against injecting yourself with the chemicals or the properties, aborted fetal tissue, et cetera, that is in some vaccines. And then philosophical and moral basically encompasses the categories of maybe it's not necessarily against a specific religion, or maybe you don't identify with having a specific religion, but morally or philosophically you are against an ingredient, or for whatever reason you choose not to vaccinate. So you can sign any of those things, or the other option is you can prove that you have the history of the disease. So like you already have immunity to something like, say, measles or mumps or something. So so you can opt out, and we have the right to. And I think this is why we're in such dangerous territory with the vaccine passports for adults and pushing this on kids. I think we need to look at the risks. And again, health freedom is all about true informed consent. We need truth, not propaganda, and we need to consent. Yes, I want this, or no, I don't. And we have the right to say no.
All right, when we come back, we are going to talk about a call to action and how you can get involved with health freedom if you want to. We'll be right back.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
When you're buying windows, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Hi, I'm Jesse with the Window Source. We only sell you the best windows and doors for the best price. Call the Window Source. Just because you pay less doesn't mean you get less.
If you don't know what's going on in education in this country, then you don't know what's going to happen in the future of this country. And it's important. I'm Dr. Duke.
And I'm Katie.
Watch the Dr. Duke Show weekdays at 4 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to pull them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back to No Apologies with Becker on Beck. Becker is off for a little bit. He is on a well-deserved hiatus, and so therefore I am taken over the Bourbon Bureau. So I'm happy to be here. My name is Lori Hins. With me is Dara Leese, and I'm very happy to have Tara Dukart with us from Health Freedom, North Dakota, healthfreedomnd.org. So if you want to put that up on the screen, people can see that. And I would like to talk a little bit about your group, and I'd like to talk about how you are kind of setting the pace with not living in fear. Now, the group is a group of very vocal and brave people. You've got some amazing leaders in this group. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes. I think we want to be very kind with our words. And so we are as a group against coercion. And we want to hold ourselves to that also. So just because my choices are something that I've put a lot of time and energy and research into doesn't necessarily mean that they're the right choices for you. And so we as a group respect each other's differences. And it's just been, like I said earlier, it's been a very, very supportive group. But we also are advocates, each and every one of us. And so we are advocating for ourselves, and we are advocating for children if we are parents. And what we realized as a group, because we were very involved with legislation this year. We were very involved. And we helped work on several bills, the mask bill 1323 being one of them, and then there was at least 3 other bills that would have helped us protect our vaccination exemptions and some of our health freedom rights. And those did not end up going all the way through. I mean, they were maybe passed in the House, but not in the Senate, et cetera. So we did have some
wins, but also some losses.
Right, we did. But I think what we realized as a group is, you know what, we can't rely on our government to protect us.
Right.
And for those of us who live in North Dakota, you know, just because we have North Dakota laws doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to protect us all over the nation. True. And so we realized at Health Freedom North Dakota that this has to be a grassroots movement. And we have to get together and say no more. And I understand there was a lot of fear early on, but now that we understand the propaganda, now that we understand the now we have actual data and statistics to show us that masks, there's a lot of research out there showing that they're ineffective and potentially harmful, physically, psychologically, mentally. And so we can stand up and say, no more, I'm not complying. And we see a lot of the emails and the information that we get as a group are coming from people who say, hey, my employer is requiring me to either get the shot or to continue to mask and follow, you know, these different protocols. What can I do? And I say, stand up for yourself. And find other coworkers, because this is not going to end until we push back and say, no more. The data doesn't support this. The science doesn't support this. And look at what we're doing to our kids in the next generation. Exactly. How far could this go? So we talked earlier about the tyranny with this and the propaganda. The vaccine industry is a liability-free market, and it is now being mandated and coerced. Where does this end? If we don't stand up to the COVID vaccine, where does this end? At what point does it stop? When do we say enough is enough? And I think we have to say that now, or they can inject us with whatever they want down the road.
Speak to what you have coming up for events. We
Yes.
want to make sure that we publicize that before we're out
Yes,
of time.
so we are working on a new website, so that's up and coming. And we have a really exciting campaign. So we're in the process of figuring this all out, but we are working with businesses in North Dakota. And on their door fronts, they will sign just a little pledge saying that we pledge to be a health freedom friendly business, which means we won't require people to wear masks or show proof of vaccination in order to shop here or work here. So if you would like to be one of our health freedom friendly businesses, connect with us in the near future. We've got that coming up. And we will have a logo, a cute little sign for you to put on your storefront or on your door that notify people that you are a health freedom friendly business. And then we have a number of events coming up. Again, connect with us. We are planning on marching in the Mandan 4th of July parade, a parade to represent health freedom. We're really excited about that. We've got an event happening on July 30th at the State Fair in Minot.
Great.
Huge news, and we will be announcing our our speakers and our lineup as soon as we have that all figured out. But we are doing our second annual Rock Your Health Summit.
I went to that. It was so good.
It was amazing.
It was really good.
We're doing it a little bit earlier this year because we want to really arm and equip parents right before the school year. So the dates for that are August 20th. That is the VIP dinner. That will be a limited seating.
Right.
But save the date, everyone, for August 21st, Rock Your Health Summit. We rented the Belmehus, and so we can fit like 800 people.
That's great.
It's going
last
to be
time it was at the
amazing. Yes.
At the Bismarck Event Center in one of those upper rooms, but it was so
Yes.
good. It was very educational. I learned so much there, and I wasn't familiar with, in our last minute here, I just want you to explain a little bit about, there are people all over the state who are involved with this too. It's not just the Bismarck-Mandan area.
Correct, right. I live in Western North Dakota, so it is everywhere. So we're actually looking for regional ambassadors. And so we want regional advocates, so some volunteers. We are all volunteers. I should mention Health Freedom North Dakota is a nonprofit organization. We have a 501c3, and so we have no paid staff. So all the money for donations, if you'd like to donate financially, we have no paid staff, but we have volunteers. But we are so supportive of each other, and it's been a wonderful group of people.
So
but
if you donate, you can go
Yes.
and expand what you do with your big Rock Your Health Summit.
Yes, we can. And a lot of those people too donate a lot of their time. We just pay for their travel expenses. But it's going to be a phenomenal event. Get all of your friends and family members there. We have one more event at the end of September. We are going to participate in the Fargo 5K Walk Run September 24th. But yes, we are looking for regional ambassadors and coordinators. We are expanding, so we've got merchandise, and we just need volunteers. Let's connect and work together.
Tara Dukart from Health Freedom ND. Thank you so much for coming here. We really appreciate
lot of information.
lot of great information. Connect with them soon. We're going to come back, and when we do so, Daryl and I are going to go and look at the mailbag. We'll be right back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all. Spas, etc.
You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you can pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York style pizza. We also feature gyros with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Graphic. Thanks, guys. I love that so much. So your final segment tonight, number 5 on No Apologies with Becker. And Becker is off this week, so that's why Lori's at the Bourbon Bureau. And Darylise, thank you so much for accompanying me in doing this. We're going to look at the mailbag.
You didn't need me tonight. There was so much information from Tara.
Right?
That was unbelievable.
She was fantastic. I'm just so grateful that people are taking the reins of this topic and going great.
It's important stuff.
It is. It's important stuff, and you know, you don't want your freedoms impinged. Definitely not on this show. Okay, so we had the other night City Commissioner from Bismarck, Mark Splonskowski, on, and when he was on, he had some really, really interesting stuff to talk about. But he also then posted a link to our show, and I just want to show you the graphic for that from our mailbag today. So this is from his page, and he said, here's my interview on No Apologies if you want to watch it. A great show with great hosts. So that was a kind thing to say. He just did a great interview. The next slide shows what happened as soon as he posted that. Of course, people are going to jump on him immediately. So on the top left one, it says, Mark Splonskowski for Bismarck. When are you going to fix the water prices for the residents of Bismarck? Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation. Anyway, they are absolutely outrageous. And this is what happens when you are a city commissioner. So this is what I wanted to illustrate by this. And then somebody else weighs in and answers this. Well, what do you suggest he do? Bismarck needs to unite and show up in numbers at these city meetings to let the folks that make these decisions know they don't agree. Every public subdivision has public comment. One man alone cannot change the world. We as community members need to take a stand both locally and state levels to let elected officials know that we are tired of being overtaxed. I agree with your frustration, but we the people need to start to get more involved with local political subdivisions. I love that people are given the exact right answer to that, and exactly right. It's a call to action. Another person weighs in and says, I agree, and it might have been the first person here too, that says, I agree, one man cannot change it. However, he can start the ball rolling. And as a citizen, last time at the polls, I did not vote for any of the current commission members except for Mark, due to me not agreeing with their stance in handling of prior issues in Bismarck, water being one of them. Not all of us can attend city meetings, so I voice my opinion at the polls and through avenues such as this on social media. It's really frustrating to drive through the city of Bismarck and see the people who pay property taxes, high taxes I might add, not watering and keeping our city and their property beautiful because of the dramatic increase. So he's saying people are not watering because the prices are just so high, and it's happened. He's not wrong. It is especially frustrating when it's pouring rain out and the sprinklers at businesses, apartments, and city areas such as parks and medians all have the water running down the street. I will rephrase my earlier comment and state that as a citizen, I'm asking Mark to bring the issue to the table and work to find a more reasonable solution. Don't let it go until something is done about it. So on the next slide, we're going to go back to another topic that we had when Becker was back here, and we were actually together. I was gone for a while with COVID, and then he was going solo, and now I'm going solo without him as he's taking a little rest here. The Minneapolis police force lost a third of their officers was our discussion, and violent crime is increasing, and we asked why is that? And the next slide will show some of the responses, not necessarily I'm sorry. All right. They're on the side there. My bad. They were on the side. Nobody will travel to these hub cities. They are unsafe and barbaric environments. This is sad. I went to a Twins game. No, I'm not at that slide yet. Thank you. I went to a Twins game. Now, this is an interesting story, too, because I remember going to Twins games all the time, too, and it was very dicey on the light rail. It was just really frightening for me. But they say, we took the train, and it wasn't even recognizable 2 years ago, pre-Floyd. My heart sunk. Stabbings were taking place outside of 7, which was a nice restaurant, black tie and penguin suits required type of place. And the cops, she said, did nothing then. They just watched them have it out. I was appalled. The Twin Cities have fallen long ago. Have you been to the cities lately, Daryl?
So in October of 2019, My mother got flown there to Abbott Northwestern for a serious heart attack. And we were down there right on Lake Street where Abbott is kind of borders.
Sure.
And then we went back in March of this year because she had an experimental procedure done a year ago, went back for the 1-year checkup. And
Night and day?
everything is destroyed.
Really?
The dollar store that families that were staying there would utilize for some groceries while they're staying there, while their loved one's in the hospital, burned to the ground. The Popeyes, the only place to really eat after hours once you leave the hospital, burnt down. That whole block burnt down. You go down. Interestingly enough, what I found very interesting is there'd be a business unscathed. No marks on the sidewalk, no marks on the business. But it was businesses that you would probably think might be having guns in there. Because they were like car repair shops, tire shops.
And they were not touched.
You know, they were not touched, but the buildings on both sides of them destroyed.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It's important to have police. It just is. All right, we're going to go to the next one. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so this next one, we did the post before Rick was gone, and it says, Lori helms the desk this week with some special co-hosts and guests. Who is it going to be tonight? Well, apparently you told somebody because they posted it right on here.
Yeah.
And somebody...
I remember seeing this one. I know who it is.
And you know who that is, too. And they said, Big Bad Dara Lisa, and I thought, that sounds like bad Leroy Brown.
Leroy Brown,
Like
yeah.
now I'm gonna just call you Leroy Brown from now on because that just cracked me up too. I thought Big Bad Dara Lisa. Is there something you didn't tell me about the racing pigs, which are the Big Bad Dara Lisa?
Yeah, you know, those racing pigs, they're very, very edgy.
All right, one more. This last one is, should North Dakota join 44 attorneys general urging Mark Zuckerberg not to release Instagram for kids? And we just talked about this last night, and this is just some of the early ones that posted on Facebook on our post. I didn't realize Instagram was for non-kids in the first place, somebody says. I would rather see, they say, the AG get on board with the critical race theory suit, which was also something we talked about.
Right.
And then you posted in and you said, tune in tonight, you will not want to miss it, because you're right, we did talk about both of those issues. Yep. So, all right. Join us next time because we have a very special program tomorrow night. I am so excited. We will have Republican National Committee co-chair, second in command to Ronna McDaniel, Tommy Hicks on via Zoom. Join us then. We'll also talk about the Biden border crisis as well with him. We'll see you tomorrow.
Be a great show.
All right. Bye now.